Hello again. This time in this video we're going to have a look at the effects which can be set up for the Ranger Archetypes from Xanathar's Guide to Everything within Fantasy Grounds. So we've created our level 20 Ranger, and if we have a look at the Actions tab, we've already set up everything for the Gloom Stalker archetype. Now you'll see there's only two out of the several that are available, but this is because these are the only two where we can actually set up effects. The rest of them, things like magic, are just additional spells. Umbral Sight gives you extra dark vision, etc. So the other things are theatre of the mind, or they are things which you deal with in the character sheet elsewhere. So that just leaves us with the two, and if we have a look at the Dread Ambusher first of all, it's in two parts. It gives us a bonus to our initiative, so simple enough. We just in it, and we include the wisdom in the square brackets, and this will extract the character's wisdom modifier and add it to their initiative. So this is targeted to self, so it's just placed on the character and it will remain there forever, really. We can give this a name, since it's going to be on the character for a long time. We might forget why it's there, so that can be given a name, so that the character and the Dungeon Master realizes why they've got a bonus to initiative. And the second part is that you can do an extra attack against a creature, and if you do, then that creature gets an extra 1d8 points of damage. So it's a simple, straightforward one. Damage 1d8. It has no duration. It's coming off on the next roll. The target is to self. Simple enough. And the other one we've got is Shadowy Dodge. And if we have a look at that, this basically imposes disadvantage on any incoming attack if it doesn't have advantage on the roll. So it's just a straightforward grant this attack. This is placed on the Ranger. It is removed on the next action. And that's pretty much it. So when you are just about to get attacked, add this effect to the Ranger and the attacker will get disadvantage. So that's it for the Gloom Stalker. I will now enter in all the effects for the Horizon Walker, and we'll pause the video there and come back when I've done. Okay, we've set up the Horizon Walker. Now you'll notice that there are a couple more that we haven't added. The Horizon Walker spells is just simply a list of spells, and the Distance Strike is a Theatre of the Mind ability which we can't set any effects for. So let's look at Detect Portal. Again, this is really a Theatre of the Mind thing, but it's got a limit of once per short or long rest, so we've included it here simply so that we can go into preparation mode and make that one per rest, so that we've got our checkbox here so we can get rid of it once it's been used. Ethereal Step. It's again another one that you can cast the etherealness spell essentially, and again it's got a limit of 1 per short rest. So again, this has been included simply to allow you to tick that off once it's been used. The Planar Warrior. As a bonus action, choose a creature you can see, and the next time you hit that creature, all damage dealt becomes force damage, and the creature takes an additional 1d8 force damage. So I'm going to show you two ways how we might do this. The first and simplest, let's get the combat tracker up. The first and simplest are the last two effects here. The first one simply puts in the damage type effect, and that changes the damage type to force damage. So we need to put that onto the Ranger. And we need to put that on, no matter which way we're going to do this, we need to put that on to force the damage to force type. And then we can just add in the damage 1d8 force. And then if our Ranger targets Orc 1 and does some damage, then you can see down here, if we move this a little bit, all the damage is now force damage and the additional d8 has been added in. Another way we can do this is to use these two effects up here along with the damage type one. We can add this effect chosen to the Orc. So let's just do that. You can see we've got the Orc has now got this effect chosen. Chosen is just a word. It's meaningless to Fantasy Grounds, so it'll be ignored during the Orc's turn. And then we can add this effect to the Ranger. And essentially what's this going to do is it's going to look up the target, and it's going to look for a custom effect on the target called chosen, which is here. And if that is all true, then it's going to do an additional 1d8 force damage. We still need the damage type force, because otherwise our normal damage from our longbow will just be simply piercing damage. So we need to add that effect in as well. And then if we still targeting the Orc, we can just do damage, and all of those effects will come off, and as you can see, the damage all got through because that statement was true. If we, just to prove the point, if we put this function back on, and then we attack some other creature, nothing additional happens because the test here, if custom chosen, was false because this one doesn't have the chosen tag on it. So that's two ways to do that. Probably this, if the custom target thing is a bit overcomplicating it. But it's available. So that's playing our warrior, and the only other one left we've got to consider is spectral defense. And really, when you take damage, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to all the damage from the attacker on that turn. So it's just a resist all. Now I've set this up to go just off on next action. So if the target attacked more than once, you'd have to reapply it. But I think that's probably the better way to do it, rather than leaving it on for the minimum would be a round. Then you could end up being resistant to damage against a whole bunch of creatures, rather than just the one. Okay, that's it for the Horizon Walker. We'll pause again, and I'll add in the Monster Slayer effects, and then we'll come back and look at those. Okay, we've added in the effects for the Monster Slayer. Once again, there's a couple, like the magic and this final one, the Slayer's Counter, which can't be, there's no effects that can be created for either of these, and neither of them have any counters or timers, so there's nothing that we need to put onto the Actions tab. So the first one that we do need, though, is Hunter Sense, and this is only here to keep track of the number of uses, since it's limited to the Wisdom modifier. So we've gone in to preparation mode, we've assumed the Wisdom modifier is 2, and daily this will obviously be different depending on the Wisdom modifier. But that's all that one's there for. There's no effects needed or can be created. The next one here is Magic User's Nemesis. This is simply anything that casts some kind of magic spell or teleportation spell. You can force it to make a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, and so we've just set up a spell save, and if it fails, then the Magic User fails to cast whatever it was trying to do. And so there's that bit, and we've also got it to set to the once per rest feature as well, using the preparation mode. So that's a fairly straightforward one. And then we've got the Slayer's Prey. So this one, essentially you designate a creature, and every time you hit that creature, the first time you hit that creature each round, you do it extra damage. So there's a couple of things that are a couple of ways you can do that. The first and easiest way is just simply to add in this damaging effect just before you do any damage. There's also this second method which uses the custom function in a similar method to the one that we showed you previously. We've created an effect, Slayer's Prey, and that would sit on the target of the attack, and then this custom function here checks to see if the Slayer's Prey tag is on a creature that you're about to damage, and if so, increases the damage by 1d6. So there's those two ways of doing it. Whichever method you choose, the Slayer's Prey is probably a good thing to put on the target, because that persists until the target's dead, or if you designate a different creature, and then it comes back on a short or long rest. So you've got the choice there of which one to do. I'll leave both in so you can see and choose which one you want to use. And we've gone into preparation mode again so that this one can come back on a short rest. So that just leaves us with the supernatural defense. And this one, it relies on your Slayer's Prey. If it forces you to make a saving throw or an ability check to escape a grapple, then you get an extra d6. So we can use the Slayer's Prey to determine who your Slayer's Prey is. So that's useful as well to have that on for that reason. And in the supernatural defense, we've got a couple of effects here. Just a save, 1d6, going off on next action. And this one, we've combined athletics and acrobatics, so whichever one you choose to escape the grapple will get the bonus of the d6. And it'll come off on the next action as well. So that's the Monster Slayer, and indeed that is the Ranger Archetypes for Xanathar. So that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.